So when we're talking about having purposeful conversations and we think about the world of work today, it's no longer good enough just to be the boss to get your message across. The world's a lot less hierarchical than it used to be, and we need to exert the power of influence to try and get people to do the things that we want them to do. And there's a very good author, a guy called Robert Cialdini, who has built this model of the 7 laws of influence. And he believes these 7 laws, these 7 behaviours, if you like, are the absolute keys to getting people to do what you would like them to do. So I'm just going to take you through the 7 laws, and while we're going through them, have a little think about which ones you consciously use, which ones perhaps you've never even thought about, and which ones perhaps could really help you going forwards. So let's go through the 7 laws of influence. The first one is liking. In his book, Cialdini tells a brilliant story about an American car salesman, not just any old American car salesman, but a guy who's at the top of his game, who seems to have a customer list longer than anybody else's, who seems to have record sales every year, much higher than anybody else's. And Cialdini went to see this guy and find out what his secret was. And when he met the guy, he said, "Look, how come you're such a great salesman?" And he said, "It's no great secret." He says, "I just get people to like me." And Cialdini goes, that can't be all it is. What's behind it? How do you get people to like you? And he says, that's even easier. He says, I just like them first. And just think about that for a second. I love that story. It's something so simple. But the whole concept of influence and the law of liking is people are much more likely to respond to a request or something you want them to do if they like you. So the first law is the law of liking. The second in the book is the law of social proof. There are always people in the world who are desperate to do the thing that you want to do, but most of the rest of us need to get some kind of push or need to see somebody else doing it first. And that's what the law of social proof is all about. It is seeing somebody else do something and benefit from that action. That social proof thing. You see it every day in today's world. So you go onto websites with shops. When people have bought something, you might see a little message flap up in the bottom to sort of say, "Oh, Andy just bought blah, blah, blah in your area." Another little trigger to sort of say, "Oh, somebody else has bought this, I must be onto something." So social proof, seeing somebody else benefit from the thing you're trying to get them to do, is how you can influence people. Number 3 in the book is the influence of authority. People are far more likely to buy from someone, to follow someone, to do what someone is asking if they have an air of confidence or an authority about what they are talking about or asking you to do. So being really on top of your information, really knowing your stuff, really being that voice of authority is a great way to influence somebody. If you sound iffy or wishy-washy about something, or you're not entirely sure about something, don't be surprised that people don't get on board with you. So in this sense, the law of authority is a great way to influence and get people to do stuff. The next law is called consistency. It's far easier to get somebody to do something that is very similar or the same as something they already do. And we see it today in business a lot with, I guess, something like a subscription model, right? The minute you subscribe to something, you almost forget about it and you buy and you buy and you buy and you buy. Now, on the other side of it, when you think about consistency, getting someone to do something that's not too dissimilar to something they already do, a behaviour they already show, it's easier for you to influence them into another behaviour. So, when you're thinking about trying to get somebody to do something, what is similar to something that they already do and how can they help you influence them? The next one is scarcity. Scarcity is about putting a limited time or availability along the thing that you want to get to done. So let's think about this at work. Let's say we've got a project where you want to get a load of people to help you build, I don't know, a new set of values for the business. If you just ask people, come and build some values for us, and leave it open, over time you might get some people who are going to come and help and want to help, and your list of people to help will grow. If you stop that for a sec and think about putting a very limited time window, or there's only 3 spots available, that already triggers a different kind of influence. That scarcity, if I don't act now, I might miss out. And fear of missing out is a great influence. So when we're thinking about the laws of influence, think about scarcity. How can you make the thing you want to happen feel like open to a few people within a small time window? And see what happens. Number 6 is unity. Now, unity is really saying it's easier to get somebody to do something if they feel like you are in this together, if you're one of them. Again, in the book, there's a really interesting story about a student at a college campus who was trying to raise funds for some society or whatever. And she sat outside a building with a small sign saying, please give to this society. And people would walk by, see the note, and they would carry on walking by. Her bucket of coins didn't grow very much. After a while, she changed the message on the card to read that, actually, I'm one of you. I'm part of this college, I'm part of this society, please help us grow. Or something similar. Immediately, the message had a different and struck a different chord with the audience. People stopped, talked, realized that she was part of the alumni, part of that college, part of that group, one of them. And therefore, people were far more influenced to dig in their pockets and help. So unity, how can you use the influence of unity to get your message across and to get things going? And finally, reciprocity, and I'm so pleased I managed to say that word in one go. But reciprocity, feeling like you're giving something to somebody and therefore you're more likely to give something back. In influence terms, if someone feels they're already getting something out of you, they are more likely to come and do what you want them to do for you. How does that work at work? How could you use that spirit, that law of reciprocity, to really get the things going that you want to see, the behaviour change that you want to see, get the message across and influence somebody to do something different? So, that is the 7 laws of influence by Robert Cialdini. I hope you found that useful.